All right, it's live. It's live. Nice intro. Getting better at these things now. Setting up the whole thing. Good morning, everybody. Whoever's listening and watching. Gabriel and play guitars, and here am I talking a little bit today about Brazilian guitar, and it's mainly what I do. This audio right. If someone is watching this, let me know in the comments if the audio is fine, if you can hear this, if you can hear me. I hope so. I think it seems fine over here. Let's see if I can get some folks from Instagram to join us here. We'll just do a quick announcement over there and see if we can get things going. See if I can go live on Instagram. Let's see if they see me over here. Let me see. Going live. Let's see. All right, I'm live. Hey everyone, Gabriel here. I'm live on YouTube right now. This is just a quick announcement at Instagram that I am live on YouTube, talking about guitar and all that. So click my stories. You find the link to go to the YouTube stream. So head over there to YouTube, find it here on my stories. The link is here. Jump to YouTube because it's going to be a YouTube stream. We can talk about guitar and talk about music and all that stuff. So I hope to see you over there on YouTube. Go to my link, be on YouTube. See ya. Let me sign off here. All right. It seems that I successfully invite people. So some people are getting in. Cool. All right. So it seems to be working. So people are commenting. Thank you. Okay. Audio is great. Hello, everybody. Hello, Manuel. Hello, Gonzalo, Vladimir, BVS, AASSIN as well. Oh, your name, Matt. There we go. Let's talk a little bit about Brazilian guitar today. You know? If you guys have any particular questions, I'm just here to hang out, to interact, to play. Any specific question about Brazilian guitar you might have. I'm gonna talk a little bit about things as well, but just wanna keep things interactive today. I'm gonna try to do this now on a weekly basis. Probably not on Friday. It's gonna be probably Thursday. That's the best day, but yesterday was kind of an intense day. So I'm going live today, but I plan to be here on Thursdays. And this time at noon-ish or 11 at noon seems to be a good time for folks in Europe. I have several complaints from friends in Europe that can't really catch up with these streams because it's so late in Europe when I get to do those. So I'm trying to do something like in between that anybody can kind of follow and all that. So hopefully like noon will be a good time to get everybody kind of joining in and all that. B flat, B minor 6 E, huh? Manuel says B minor 6. This. that what you're talking about, Manuel? Let me know what you're talking about. Trying to find this play-alongs I was practicing with, but I just taught a lesson. Was I trying to like put this stream together? I am to find this play-alongs I was playing with here. The samba one, I gotta find them to play along and just, you know, show some stuff. But I think I'm gonna try to use this one. I think this one is going to work. Wait a second. Give me a second here, because I know this one works. There's one that is longer though that I'm looking for. I have to find. I'm gonna find it. Okay. So this was 2020 for sure. Let me see if this is the actual one I'm talking about. No, that's the original. So there's something like here. Let me see. Bear with me for a second. I'm trying to find this. You know, trying this play along that's cool. I think I call. Oh yeah, it was in practice. So which means I can find this over this folder. Luckily, bear with me for a second while I found this. Where is it? Drum hit. Practice. Man, I had this here that I was practicing with. I have to find this thing. Practice mess run. Man, it sucks when you look for some stuff and you just don't find it, huh? Let me find this other one. I think this one will do. That's over videos, man. Come on. Almost there. Bear with me. Okay, bam. I think I found it now. Okay. No melody. Okay, that's the one I want. Just practice some samba stuff. Let me see. Just tell me about this volume. If this volume is fine or if it's too loud. Is that good? Sounds fine here to me, but I don't know if it's too loud. Let me know if it's too loud. You know, they play along and stuff with the guitar. Sounds good here for me, but I don't know if it's too loud. Okay, perfect. Nice. Thanks, Manuel, for the feedback. You never know how those things are, man. Like you hear stuff here that sounds cool and balanced, but then it's like it's too loud or whatever, you know? That's why I always ask. Okay, let me just play maybe a little bit more track. Okay. How about here now? Is that good? Okay, let's see how it is now. Okay, cool. Let me play a little bit this track and then talk a little bit about that. So this is great Jobim one, Vivo Sonhando. One of my favorite songs to play, especially because I kind of put some things there that I like to explore, kind of open up some avenues for solos and stuff. I like that. But the general melody is the harmony is something like that. There's like an intro. Something like that. That's kind of how the melody and harmony goes. I did put a few things there in this arrangement. I did use this put this F stars here, and then I replay the melody with a different harmony. So that's the part that I did. So this is the play along thing, and I'll play the melody and then a little solo and jam a little bit, and then if you guys have some questions, we can interact and talk about some of this stuff on these songs, what's been used, grooves and all that stuff. So let's play this, and hopefully this sound will be balanced, which is always the hope, right? But it keeps remaining my hope. I was looking for this other one I have that has a more extended ending, so I can like play around more with stuff. I'm looking for here my my messy files. I hope I'll find one. Let me play another. I'm gonna play this just with the chords, so we can just kind of check out the grooves and all that, and talk a little bit about that, huh? What do you think? Let me see. Oh, I see. I'm actually gonna play a version that has my melody on top, so I can just kind of focus on the chords. That's gonna be even better. So I have a version in which I am playing the melody. This one. Alright, cool. It works. The audio works, I think. There's a thing I'm doing here that some people ask me sometimes. There's this thing I called adding color, as I say. It's just like when you have a group of strings that you play, like, let's say the, fourth, third, and second, playing chords like this, right? This group of three strings. Sometimes what I do is I switch to this other group up, like an upper group, but just for like a little color. I do, see? I do that all the time, and that kind of like gives a nice extra color to the chords when you're playing, when you're doing like on this song I'm doing he adds a nice color to it, and this thing by itself already kind of creates almost like a commentary type of melodic answer to whatever is happening, because you have this, right? I still have this line that kind of goes underneath the chords, and that complements nicely the the chord structure that I'm using here, using this color. So I use this all the time, like here. This is me using this second group, right? Ba, ba, right? This group of chords, of strings rather, and then this group of strings, right? So I have this group 4, 3, 2, and then I have 3, 2, 1. So I do this, right? Just going back and forth with these groups. I do this a lot in the grooves, and it works like in any speed you want to use, right? So I can use here, right? This kind of thing. I can use fast. Right? This is a big part of the way I'm playing. I'm always using this, switching back and forth on this group of 3 strings. Not switching back and forth, but accenting that other group at will, in a way. So I just like to use that color to kind of like punch up a little bit. So on this particular things, you're gonna see I'm using this a lot during the solo. I was just gonna now check it out what I'm doing. So this thing is there, sort of complementing the melody and the solo. That's the idea. So right, I guess that's the subject that we're talking about. This thing, adding color, as they call, like, so you switch from the group of 3 strings to the upper group, and then you, with this, doing the, you kind of extend the chord doing the groove, so that gives a nice color, just extra color to the chords, right? If you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments. I'm reading all the comments and stuff, so you can interact. Any particular questions about that? Or do you apply some of this stuff when you play these grooves and stuff? But it doesn't apply only to this kind of stuff, right? It applies to anything. If I'm playing like a funk kind of groove, from here to here, right? Changing groups all the time. That helps to, like, anytime you want to add color, within the same chord you can switch these groups, and then you kind of extends the chord, so you give it a little extra color. Sometimes there are chords that you can't play, just physically play all the notes, and then you just kind of switch back and forth. Like this chord I like to play all the time. I literally play all the 6 notes, sometimes the 7th, right? But in this case 6 notes, so I can't physically play because I only have 4 here, only if I use the pinky too, but I probably wouldn't recommend to play 6. So I do a groove, playing all the notes of the chord, you switch these groups of 3 strings to kind of so Manuel, you're talking about this, right? Okay, I'm gonna even show you a comment here. I see what you're talking about. So you're talking about this chord. That's the chord you're talking about, this other one. You call it B minor 6 or something, E. So that chord, that's you know, like a Brazilian stamp chord. Like we use this all the time, and especially this you know, magnificent musician Toninho Horta uses this chord a lot. So I have a episode of the podcast that I talk about this chord and some other chords. This can be different things, right? Basically. So I guess the first urge to name the chord is a B minor 6, but there's not really a B minor 6, because if I talk about B minor 6, this would be B minor 6. Like, you kind of conventioned that when you talk about minor 6, that 6 is a major 6 over here. You know, when I talk about the 6, so if you want to call the chord a 6, then you be flat 6 on this case. But that's not how I see it, though. I must tell you. This can be many things. So let's go through some of the ways you can call this chord, right? This chord can be many things. In this context, it's E minor for me, okay? But why is E minor? So it's E minor because I have the root on E, I have the 5th, I have the 3rd, right? So that's your hey Devin, E minor at 80th ninth. Well, it wouldn't be 80th ninth because I have the F sharp, therefore I have the 9th and the 7th here. So 80Ds, I only had that, so that would be the E minor at the 9th, right? This chord, but I'm doing this and even this. So just E minor 11 basically, because I have the root, the 5th, the 3rd, the 7th, right? That's my E minor 7. Then I have my 9th here, and I have the 11th here, right? Another sort of like a rotation of reshape of this chord is this that I also use. Very Toninho Horta-like as well, like, right? So we have F sharp here, which is my 9th, the 3rd, you have the 7th, and you have the 11th. So this shape has the 9th on the top, and this one has the 11th in the top, right? So that's the shape that I use all the time, right? I can also use this, like, right? So we have a 13 in the top. I added a 13. Of course, I can't play the 11 on this, right? I can use that, right? Awesome comments here. Miss Awesome, please come to Japan again. Yes, I can't wait to come back to Japan, man. I'm counting the days, especially when this whole thing's over. We'll meet again in Japan for sure. Can't wait to play there again. Alessandro, ciao, grazie. Italy, right? If I'm not mistaken, Italy. Thank you, grazie. So yeah, this chord, Manuel, this is on this context, I will call this just E minor everything, right? The bacon cheeseburger with everything, right? To put everything in. So that's a E minor 11th thing. So it has a 7th, the 9th, and the 11th, and 7, 9, 11, right? It can also be, and I like the shape also, by the way, especially in E, when the bass is in E, I like that because I have this 5th. So I have this nice, you know, like, so I use it here, you know. Oh, Sicilia, I definitely want to go to Sicily, man. It's on my notebook. It's on my bucket list to go there. Hopefully I will. Maybe this year. Maybe, let's see. After this whole craziness is done. So back to it. So see, I like this because I have the fifth. Boom. This nice weight. Since I have an extra string, by the way, right? I can play that same shape here. Like, I can also play here. In D minor, which I use a lot as well. Like, because I have the same. Like the same fifth kind of thing. Again, it's the same shape, right? I also have the option of, right, that's Tony Water, use this a lot. He has a, Tony Water used this on his Beijo Partido version, this Broken Kiss, beautiful, beautiful song. So he does this, and he does this with the voice. So he kind of arpeggiates the chord with the voice. I love it, I love it. So you have this kind of shape, right? It's still with the fifth, or I can just abandon the fifth and play like this. Because of the seventh string, I have this option also half step up, so I can play this chord like F minor 11, like. I can play here, which is nice, right? And here I have the option to play D. I can play also here, right? So this is in case of if the root is like E in this case, so it's E minor 11 for me, right? But that can also be G if I think of this note as a fifth of something, so that's the fifth of E, but also can be the third of G, which is relative, right? G major, E minor. So I can think of this as a, right? Of G major. If this is G major, this is just G major ninth, right? Because I have, think about it, I have the root, if the root is G, I have the third, that's the root again, right? I have the ninth, the fifth, and the major seven. So major seven, ninth, G major ninth. If I play the root here, right? But most of the cases I will invert the chord and play this on the third, right? Right? So D shape, it's usually a minor 11 chord or major 9 chord for me, okay? But this context, like for instance, if I am going through this, it's gonna be hard to argue against this being flat 6 or sharp 5, right? This the famous James Bond thing, right? Right, the famous James Bond. 5 flat, 5 sharp 5, 6, and then 6 flat 6, 5, right? You can also think like that. Usually when we talk about this chord being sharp 5, this context, usually I don't voice this chord sharp 5 like this. I usually voice it like this. To get that kind of fourth sound, right? But this is just me, just personally. Like I like to call this chord sharp 5 in this kind of situation, right? But But the chord can also be many things. That can be also a major chord added ninth with a third on the bass, like on this case. It can be E major and then added ninth, right? E added ninth, added ninth with the third on the bass. So it can be that, but it can also be this kind of sharp 5 sound, right? Which can be, by the way, a substitute for half diminished chord if you think of a sharp 5. So think about it. If this is minor 7 flat 5, this is the sharp 5. Then I have a minor 7 flat 5, minor 7 sharp 5, right? So if this is the case, then I can use this instead of this, right? By the way, this is episode 64 or 63 on my podcast. Check it out. I talk about this particular chord. You know, a song that has that sort of dubious function for this chord is how insensitive. I talk about that in the podcast. So, you know, we go pa. This chord right here. There are two ways to see this chord. Most people see this chord like E major with a third in the bass, right? On this case, if I use F sharp, there'll be the added ninth with the third in the bass, right? It will be this kind of thing, right? Coming from this area, right? E major. So in this case, if I'm soloing, case I'll probably do E major thing, right? Most people think like that, but consider for a minute, if I use this chord instead of the added ninth third in the bass, instead think this chord as a substitute of the half diminished chord. So G sharp minor 7. Instead of flat 5, I do G sharp minor 7 sharp 5. So then this chord wouldn't be the E major third in the bass, it would be a G sharp minor 7 sharp 5. In this case, you substitute this chord, in which case, instead of this, I can think of this chord. I can think like this on insensitive as well. So I can do pa. So it'll be this sound. See? In this case, when I'm soloing, I can do. Get the half the minute sound. So I get this sound while playing this. See? Those are three different ways you can use this chord, Manuel, right? This chord. So I can use it like this. So it has all this world that opens up through that, right? So I can use that. That's how I use this chord in so many ways, right? It can be a minor 11th chord, it can be an inversion of a third of a major chord, it can be a sharp 5 chord thing, it can be a added ninth on the third chord, it can be a substitute for half diminished chord, it can be so many things, right? It just depends on the context, including your version of the James Bond thing can be a sharp 5 or a flat 6. It depends on how you see it. But you see, there's like 7 or 8 different ways you can label this chord. It just depends on the context, right? Let's get to some comments here. Ciao, Gabriel, in loop with a new one CD. So it looks like we could see you in Italy soon. Man, yeah, I would love to go to Italy. I have been like setting up this Italy tour for a while, man. I almost went to Milan to play like a couple years ago, but so many things happened, and now, you know, with this whole situation, but I'm dying to go to Italy to play, man. Like, I can't wait. I'm definitely put a lot of effort to go to Italy. You know, whenever I hit Europe, Italy is gonna be there for sure. Like, that's a no-brainer, because I have a lot of you know, guys there that like what I do, so it's definitely a priority. And Sicily, I want to go to Sicily too. And I'm glad you're liking this CD as well. I put a lot of work into that, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. Nice. Got a brasileiro. Let's get his comment here. Mas, irmão, descobri o canal esses dias, conseguiu uma forma de desnoviar tudo que eu tinha com relação ao meu canal. Obrigado, e, pô, estamos aqui para isso, para ajudar a galera, para trocar informação, para desanuviar, né? Como você mesmo falou. Porra, estamos aí. Pergunte o que vocês quiserem. Porra, tamo junto. Tamo aí para falar de música e tirar essas dúvidas todas que tem. I got some Portuguese going here, but yeah. So there was the question about that chord that Manuel had. You know, have questions. Keep them coming, because we can keep talking about this particular chord situation that I was talking about. Just a shameless plug here. I have that here on the episode. Let me see. I can find here. I think it's 60. Yeah, episode 64 of my Speaking of Harmony podcast. You can find it on YouTube. Episode 64, I talk exactly about this chord, about this duality of this chord. That you can have, you know, different contexts and explanations for this chord, right? Instead of come back to the grooves. Yeah, I was talking about that. Changing the groups of strings, that helps a lot to kind of add color to the harmony that you're playing, right? A way to expand the chords, right? But you know, playing chords and harmonizing things, it's just so you know, on a case basis, right? There's not really like a formula that you apply. Okay, this song is gonna work the same way as the other one, because every song offers you so many outs, right? So many exit points, so many you know, entry points that you can use, so many like melody cues, so many, right? A big part though, as on the way I see it though, is and I keep talking about this all the time, and I will still be talking about that for the rest of my life. It's just harmony is it's just horizontal. It's not vertical. Harmony is horizontal. So if you start singing harmony like that, like lines, then you will always be on the lookout for those points, for those cues, for those entry points, for those situations where you can take the harmony somewhere and change things. That's why, you know, you can get like a recipe that applies here and here and here. You know, if you really want to like build something specific for that context, for that thing you're going for, you gotta look at the lines, man. You gotta look at how things are going, right? That's why when I was, you know, putting together the arrangement for this Vivo Sonhando song, that's why I saw that there's this inner thing already built in the accompaniment I was doing, right? This. There's a melodic material in there, you know? this underlying melody is there in my accompaniment. So if you start seeing those things in the way you're playing, you can use those, right? So I'll play a little bit of that track with the no melody. So when I'm soloing, I'm gonna use that, you know, in my favor, you know. See, right now I did this run with this part, right? For those who just got here, I was playing around this song Vivo Sonhando, right? This arrangement I have, and I was talking about using groups of strings when you accompany the chord, accompanying to create extra colors and stuff, and then I'm bringing that back into the soloing, you know, kind of tying back to what I was saying, that these melodies, they're already kind of hidden in my accompaniment, and I'm just using them. We're just putting them out, right? This one thing that is very important in the solo department, right, is when you sort of take advantage of the common tones, like notes that connect the chords, right? And I'm a big fan of that. Whoever see me playing stuff, I'm a big fan of the common tones, even for like complicated chords, right? If you have this super weird distant chords, you know, really like, you know, tense and whatever, there's always some notes that connects these chords, and I'm always looking for those. That's my way in, you know, kind of like in the soloing. This one, I set up this chord progression, so it's like I set up in such a way there's like one note that just stays beautifully, you know. So that D note just there to the whole thing, and I love that. That's why, you know, since I made that part, I put that in the arrangement, I kind of set myself up for success, right? For the stuff that I think I can do a good job at, which is to circulate between these common tones to the chords, and then you kind of create your path. So soloing in that part is so much fun for me because that's all I practice. Like, I love finding these connections, like these notes, and then you know, tied to what we're talking about, that note is in there, right? And then when I was accompanying, I was like, okay, if that note is in there, let me find a way to play this chord in such a way that this note is on top, right? So I was playing the D's on top, right? E minor ninth, F sus, the D's in here, right? 13 sus, then back to that, and then I got again, and then again, and then back. So I kind of secured my top note and the accompaniment. And then I was using that sort of strategy that I was showing before, the upper group of strings, right? I'm doing this, like my right hand, I'm doing this group, and then this group, right? So I'm accenting notes on top of that note, but I'm always circling back to that note. And each iteration of the chord, that top note will change like a half step up or down, and that's fun. So I have, right? So I have the F sharp, and then when I get to the sus chord, I have F natural, then back, and then C minor, the chord changes, but the resolution is that same. And then, right? And then I can come back to this. I can go further and, you know, rearrange the chord like this. If that's the case, then I have an extra one, because I have, right? So take a look at this. I'll just play the chords so you can get this inner voice comments, and it's all because I have that common tone, that common D that just breathes through it. So I can go, you see that note underneath my accompaniment, right? And then we're gonna talk about how I approach that in the solo. Okay? Hey, Manuel, thanks, man. Thank you. You guys are making my day, just, you know, being here and hanging out. So let's go through that section again, but paying attention to the accompaniment how I'm using this, changing our groups to create stuff, to create material. It is already me making stuff up, so when I get to solo, I have all this thing already in my head, so I just kind of follow through it, right? So let me find the place to play. Here you go. Here you go. So you see that, man, I'm already having fun playing this stuff. Like, I'm just accompaniment, I'm just like in the background, but I'm creating, you know, entry points into the solo. I'm already doing this, so I'm already like, whoo, my head is already being inspired by that. So when I get to solo, I'm just gonna follow along, and then do some notes around it, and just using this as my entry point, right? So check out me going to the solo. Come on, Tom D. Overboard at the end, but you got the idea. So common tone, D, 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 D. Now I'm gonna explore that thing from the accompaniment that I did. Right? Perdula! Alex Freitas, bom que você tá aqui, velho. Good friend from Brazil. So yeah, you see, I did just common tones, and now I'm going to use that thing from the accompaniment to just kind of inform. This is my kind of my way in, right? So that thing I was talking about, I'm going to use that as my sort of my solo structure in a way. Let's go back to that. So there you go. I just got that idea from my own accompaniment. So everything is kind of connected. See, because again, I will stress that again. I use that because I'm seeing harmony as lines, just lines, man. It's not a structure thing. Okay, this is a chord. No, it's just a line that's just moving. On this case, that line that I on purpose put in the top, it just stays, and this one just goes like this. It's a line. So I'm using these two lines as my, my guidelines to just kind of go and I just explore, right? We get to some questions here. Manuel, MPB's my main college of music. Oh, it is? Man, that's good to know, man. Eddie, another brasileiro. Pesado, rapaz. Como você pensa as frases? Quantas perguntas você responde com essa nota da ponta? Boa pergunta. Good question. So, Eddie asks us, eu vou traduzir aqui pra galera, tá? Ed is asking us, how are you thinking the phrases as questions and answers with this note on the top, right? That's kind of his question. Ed, eu vou ter que falar inglês pra galera aqui, tá? Mas acho que você vai pegar amanhã aí. So, and in terms of question and answer, like phrasing, right? So, which kind of like shifting the look now into how I deal with this material that I was talking about, like this thing that kind of was generated by my accompaniment. How do I deal with that in terms of question and answer, like in phrasing wise, right? Well, it's easy. You just use the pacing of the chords, right? Because those chords have been here, E minor, then I got this chord that will change, right? The note, right? Already here, and then I'm gonna come back here, then change again, and then change to that other one, and then further to the other one. So I can use the length of the chords to inform the length of my phrasings, right? That's a sort of like a basic strategy would be, okay, let me phrase in such a way that the phrases end when the next chord comes in, right? That's the first approach. Let's think about that. So I'm gonna play, then this is the next chord, right? Good, I can think like that. The other approach is to use the chords that are changing to make longer phrases, right? Phrases that kind of invade the next chord into it. But the entry points of those chords are those notes that are changing, either that or the D note that stays the same. So I can use entry points to get to the chords, right? So I can use, let's say, the common tone that connects them all, which in my case is this D. I can use that to phrase, like bam, chord, right? So let me show this real quick. So I'm going to use D as my entry point, let's say. Right, so this was an example. I used D to connect both chords, right? I'm here in E flat major, E minor, I'm in F. So I used G to get through those chords, right? Because I designed the harmony to favor that, right? Because that's just what I love, this common tone stuff. So E flat, D on top, E minor, F. So I can use that, right? To get in those chords. Fine, that's a great strategy. So now what you're asking also is how I use these notes that change, right? I can use those also. I know that when the chord changes, those notes will change, right? So I can use those notes also as sort of my way in the next chord. So I can end my phrases making that alteration, right? Got in the next chord, right? let me show a little bit of that. There we go. So I use the those notes that I know will change, will alter themselves, like half step up, half step down, whatever, whole step, to make my entry point into the next chord. I can do that. What I do use most of the time to really answer the question is to mix both, right? To use both the notes that connects everything and those notes that change according to the chord, right? So, and then to add to that, the third thing I do is that I don't usually phrase per chord. Okay, I'm gonna do a phrase here, and then the chord change, I'll do another phrase, and then another phrase. I do longer phrases. That's the ultimate tip I would give you. Just play longer phrases that surpasses the chords. And this way, your line just go through the chords, and then use the proper alteration to change the chords, and then going back and forth the chords, but your line is longer. That's a saxophone thing. They phrase longer. So let me show now how we do that. Longer phrases that we're not gonna be ending in the place you think you will, like, okay, the chord change, I'm gonna end my phrase. Because then you're gonna be really like marking those spots, and I don't want that. I want people to pay attention to the line, not the chord changes. I want my lines to reflect the chord changes and not the opposite. My phrase to reflect the chord changes. I want them to look at the phrases, and the chords are just a consequence of that. So so I'll be using these three strategies. I'm ending the phrases in odd places. I'm not ending the phrases when you think I should end, like, listening, okay, the chord change, so I end the phrase. No. I'm extending over bars. So every time you end the phrases in a different place, that's like in the middle of the bar. So then you made a longer statement, right? So let's say E minor, F sus, E minor. I'll build a big phrase that encompasses three chords. So I'll do. That's a long phrase, right? But I went through E minor, F sus, then E minor. And why you know that? Why? Because I know, because I use this F to kind of readjust the melody into F and then going back to E, right? So pay attention to that now. See how I'm like circulating to the chords and, just like making long statements. And you see the ending of my phrases. Pay attention to when I end the phrase. It's just in the middle of the chord. And sometimes I'm using, because it's a samba, I'm ending some kind of part of the accents, but not the ones I expect, like one or two or the counter, the upper beats, whatever. I'm just like, I'm ending like that, like 1, 2, 3. I'm ending here. See, I'm ending in a place that's not really like predictable, right? But again, longer statements. Let's go back to that again. You see that I'm also playing around with the rhythm. I am doing, like, I'm playing around with the rhythm, but I'm also against the rhythm a lot. So at this point, when I have this turn into the cadence, right, I kind of built that into the play along, right? This, so I'm doing that a lot of the times. I'm tagging along with the rhythm, but most of the time I'm playing opposite of that. I'm like ending the phrases on different places, right? Oh, look who joined us. My brother Peter Stolzman. I need to hear the contrast. Okay, be more specific, my friend, about what contrast we're talking about. Then I'll show. When Peter comments, I'll address his question. But to wrap up that thing I was talking about, and what Eddie was also talking about, is within this whole thing, I'm also conscious of the phrasing and conscious of contrasting the phrases, but also using and utilizing and reutilizing the melodic material that I create. So if I do something, right, let's say that this is my phrase that I use all the time here, like, which has built-in that sort of circling around that note that stays that I was talking about, right? So I can do, that's the same material, right? I just altered that note because we talked about that note that changes with the chords, right? See, I stay with the same material, rhythmic, melodic. I'm just doing little alterations here and there, but I'm carrying material, melodic material throughout, right? Let's play a little bit of that, and then I'll get into Peter's question. You see now, pay attention now to how I'm sort of going with whatever material I create, right? Whatever motive, whatever thing, I'm going to not just throw it away. I'm going to develop, repeat it, contrast it, modify it, invert it, take pieces of it and create a new one, you know? Let's see how that goes. Go on. But you saw that I was like not wasting anything. Whatever I'm putting through, I'm taking it back, using, repeating, just messing around with it, opposing that with a new line and coming back to it. And I can only do that because I am aware of those notes that connect everything. I'm aware of everything. I know which notes connect. I know which notes change to what. And some of those I showed you that came from the way I was accompanied, the upper group of strings. So that gave me ideas to keep this conversation going, basically, right? So that's what I was talking about in the answering the question from Eddie. I hope I have answered that, Eddie. Marty, greetings from the Nets. Yes, how's it going, man? Netherlands, man, another place I have to go. I can't wait. Let's see, my buddy Peter Stolzman is asking a question. When you hear someone doing it not the way you're talking about, can you do that for us? I need to know what not to do to... Man, you ask tough questions. Okay, how do I not do what I do? I guess that's your question. How do I not do what I'm supposed to do? Let me think on this one. Well, for instance, one thing I was gonna say, I have been talking about the notes that connect the chords, right? In this case, I set up that sequence, right? In my work, because I love this kind of chords and harmony, so I set up that way. So to answer Peter's question, I already set up my success, right? I already set up things in a way that I know will work, right? So I guess I have to maybe use a different example, like a different song or something, right? Because this one is set up this way, but okay, I'll try to keep to this one. I set up things that way because I'm thinking that way, right? I'm thinking that those notes will stay, and I also think that my accompaniment generated this little variations, like, right? I know that, but I can go with it or not, right? I do because that's what I wanted to do, and I set up things that way. But I can just like ignore that and don't go. For instance, here's another example. If I am thinking like there's a note that connects the chords, I am making effort to play that note on beginnings of phrases, ending the phrases with this note. But if I don't do that, I am not doing what I'm supposed to do. So this will be an answer to not do all that. Okay, let me show you what would be not to do that, I guess, right? So if I'm doing, let's say these three chords, right? Right? So if I don't stay in those E's, I mean, that's a thread there that, hey man, you gotta use this. And in this case, of course, I want to use because I designed it for it. But let's say, someone gets in and to play this song. Someone might not see those things, which is kind of obvious, but people probably not hear sometimes, I guess. It is obvious to me, of course, but it might not be to somebody else. It would be like not carrying this D, for instance. You can do like a... I did a phrase that just kind of departed from that D. On this case, I guess I would stay on just thinking of chord by chord basis, right? It would be a different approach. It would be like, okay, at this chord, I'm going to play this sound, right? In this case, which I wouldn't play Dorian, by the way, making a point here. A strong case. I can play Dorian, but I'm not really playing the 6 on this chord. I'm not playing 6 at all, but let's supposedly you play Dorian here, right? Over this chord. Then, you got your Mixolydian on F. You can pick like that, and then go back to the Dorian, and then go to the C Dorian. Here I play the alto scale. That would be C melodic minor, whatever. I can think like that, and I can play through these chords. But if I do that, and then addressing Peter's question, I won't be doing these things I'm doing. I guess what will you do to not do that? Well, just do that I just did. Just think chord by chord basis and play through the chords. Okay, this chord, I'll play this scale. And then on this chord, I'll play that scale. And then this chord, I play that scale. That will prevent you to connect the chords, which is the opposite what I'm trying to do. Connecting the chords, finding notes that connect. I'm always thinking in lines that connect. This note just stays, and this note just goes up here and then up here, but I'm seeing the line, the threads. Getting an approach like a scalar modal approach to this would be putting the chords into vertical structures. Okay, within that structure, like blah, I can play this. I can play those notes, and then it'll fit. And then over this, I can play the other thing. I can play that it fits, and then go back, and then this, I'll get, and it fits, right? But that's not how I am thinking about it. I mean, but to answer Peter's question, that would be the approach that is different from this one, right? Of course, I am walking through these modes when I'm going these chords. Of course, I need to address these notes. They are changing. But I'm going a step further. When I am approaching this, I'm thinking of the melody. I'm thinking of motif. I'm talking about themes. I'm talking about phrases. I'm talking about common tones. That's what the stuff I'm thinking about when I'm designing this. But of course, I am grounded in these chords and notes that I can play to these chords. But I'll play an example now that'll be more like a scalar in my approach. But even like that, I will do themes. I'll be repetition. So I can go, let's say, let me play this a little bit. There we go. I am playing a lot of notes, I have a lot of scales, but even with that, I am applying some kind of direction, some kind of a melodic framework to act, right? That's repetition. So I change the mode, right, for the next chord, but you see, there's phrasing there. There's melodic direction. I kept the direction, I kept the rhythm, and I just changed the mode accordingly. I can keep going. I can keep going. I can keep going. But you see, if I step back and look what I'm doing, there is a phrasing aspect of what I'm playing. I'm not thinking if I'm playing that scale or that scale. I'm thinking of phrases. So if I play that line, there's like a sort of scalar in character. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that. The descending kind of diatonic to the chord, right? Anyways, I love you too, brother. I hope I answer your question. Man, this is kind of a deep question. You're asking me this, the hard one. It's basically you're asking me, how do you not do what you were doing? I think I tried to answer that. Carlos Guedes, obrigado, velho. Obrigado, cara. So, if we have more questions, let's do it more. Another thing to kind of wrap up this one today. So, I'm gonna be live trying to be live every week now, so we can interact and we can talk about it, about stuff. Usually it's going to be Thursdays, okay? Friday is kind of exception today because yesterday I had a really busy day, but Thursdays will be the day to hang out here, to meet, and maybe this time is kind of a good time, like a noon-ish thing. Let's see if we can do that. Another thing to wrap up today's hang is range, because it's something that I didn't touch on, but range is super important into the direction of the melodies and all that stuff, right? I'm gonna play again another run, but now, putting all this stuff we're talking about, right? The notes that stay, the notes that change, all this like implications from my accompaniment, these notes that I altered, sort of repetition, variation, phrasing, contrasting phrases, and stuff like that. And now I'm gonna add the factor in the range, meaning the range of the notes. I'm usually not gonna start my solo like in a high register. I'm gonna start kind of like here, most of the times, I would say, right? Not a rule. And the other thing is the intensity of the solo, meaning how many notes I'm playing, or how much of the notes I can play I am gonna play. So there is a balance between that, because I can create tension by playing more notes, and I can create tension by playing higher notes. So those are two things to achieve tension, right? And which, by the way, I have another podcast about that, and I think it's number, let me see, 55, now let's see, 55, 56, episode 56 of the Speaking of Harmony podcast. Go to episode 56. I'm talking about this thing, range, which, by the way, I'm using this song and this example, by the way, to talk about that. Let me play some of that so you get an idea. Marty asked, well, we could have chosen the cringes notes to people. Yes, I could. That would be not doing what I was asked to do, right? Was asked to do, to not do that. So they'll be playing some cringy, weird notes. Okay, range now. Melodic range, rhythmic range in terms of how much I'm playing. So that all factors in, and that kind of wraps up the whole strategy and approach to a song like that. There we go. I'm gonna actually start from the chorus of the song, because this arrangement, I'm gonna play it through the form and then go to the out and loop that, right? So let me try to do a full chorus that leads into that coda, so we can talk about, I can show more, so I have more time to develop ideas, right? Let me try to see here. Okay, it's gonna go to the top now. Now the top. something like that, right? So this one was a longer solo, right? It depends on the range, how much time you have to develop the ideas, right? On this case, I felt like I could go on, but this is a shorter one. I didn't find this damn thing. I'm gonna find next time. I made a version of that to practice this coda, which is just longer. So I have to kind of like pace my way into it. But this case, I have sort of two acts, right? Two scenes, basically. I have the chorus, right? That I have to play, which is the song, right? But then I kind of designed that thing to go to this other thing and then it stays there. So I was, going to the first act of the song, of the play, which was like during the song, and then there's a transition into that section, right? And then when I'm in that section, it's just a whole new game for me. So then I'll just play along with that and then pacing the amount of time that I have to develop the ideas. Because you saw my range is starting to like get tense and going higher as I went along developing that coda. I start here and then I did, and then I start going up, and then I start playing more notes, which means my rhythmic gauge was going up, creating more tension, and my melodic direction was going up, meaning higher notes, meaning tension is going up again, right? So those are the two wheels that I am holding to create tension, like this gauge of tension, less tension. Once I got on the first part of the song, it's just like, I'm just playing along and just playing fun, playing with the band. But once I got to the coda, it's on. So I got this thing where I was sort of like ready to fly, that because I designed the coda to do that, right? To kind of open up and get something. So I could get, a few more rounds to develop and then be like really intense, right? But that's part of the fun, right? Of course, if I'm playing live, a lot of stuff is just taking into account, right? Interaction, musicians, audience, whatever. So if you have more to say, just keep saying. But also being aware that, there's a time to wrap it up and, okay, I said what I had to say, and then just go to whatever thing you're going to do. All right. I think that's going to be all for today. That's my first attempt to be consistent with the lives and be interacting with everybody. And I'm going to be posting more of this sort of educational content and Brazilian guitar more exclusively in a different Instagram page I just did. So this page here, Gabriel Santiago Academy, that's going to be now the place they're going to see all this educational stuff like lessons, tips, and this live is kind of attached to that new page over there. So if you want to have a chance to be part of it, I'm going to be putting more content there related to interaction and teaching and other stuff, right? So we're going to be interacting more on that page. And the lives is going to be all on YouTube basically, because Instagram is just so limited. I can't use the setup I'm using. It's such a hassle. I'm going to be calling everybody, hey, let's go to YouTube and stuff, right? And these lives won't be archived. So I'm going to be unlisting these lives because it's going to be part of a nice project I have coming up. That people will have access to all these in a different setup. But we're going to interact live, and then that's it. You won't be seeing that again, a replay or something. To really get people to be present here and interacting, all that. I have a last question here from Eddie. Let me read that and then we'll wrap it up. Português. No caso de pegar o coro saindo improviso de outro músico, já explorou essa região aguda. Como você pensa? Great question. Boa pergunta, Ed. So Eddie is asking, the last question would be, because this scenario I'm playing just me, right? I am the only one soloing. But he's asking, like, in the case that I am playing a band context and there's more people soloing, right? More soloists. And I get to solo after someone who's being in this kind of super high region, and I have to solo after that. Like, what should I do, right? What should I do the approach? So the approach, Eddie, it doesn't change that much, because let's just game up a scenario here. Let's say if I have two soloists on this song, right? The first soloist, let's say we can share the solo with different ways. I can do, let's say one soloist solo on the head, on the tune, and then the other soloist solo on that coda thing, or whoever soloist solos in the whole thing. One soloist solo throughout the song, through the coda, and then we come back to the head, right, to the theme, and then I solo again, right? So the order in which I would solo wouldn't influence much the content that I'm playing. Well, if I'm playing after someone, I have to be, of course, aware of whatever this person is playing, right? So if this person did this solo where like really went high, and just went all the way, right? All the way to the highs and like super intense, and then we got back to this. What I would do is to kind of diffuse the energy as a second soloist, because ultimately what you want is set up a song as a story, right? You want people who are watching. You playing for people, first of all, right? You gotta make it interesting for whoever is watching. It's not like a contest of who plays more notes, who has the biggest guns and play a lot. It's about people who are in the audience playing and watching and participating. So you gotta make it interesting. So if I am in a seat where I have to solo after someone who just kind of killed it, like for instance, Peter Stolzman, my friend Peter Stolzman, well, I'll put his comment here. This guy over here, my brother in arms that we played together for many, many years, to keep playing, have albums together. Playing against this guy on the bandstand is always challenging because he's such a monster. I mean, he can be this guy, Eddie, that you're talking about. He can take this song to like another level and just play some piano like super. Like usually I had him by my side, so I had to solo after him. Sometimes I kind of went first to let him do his thing, but I have to solo after him. What would I do, or what usually I did, or usually the approach doesn't change. It's just being aware of what Peter just played, right? Let's say that he played super intense ending and just got the thing up there, and then people great. So after that, my initial thought would be, okay, let's bring that energy down, because if I keep the energy what it was, I can, but I have I kind of hit the ceiling, right? Let's say that let's say that Peter is soloing, and then he got this we got this, and he's soloing like playing a lot of stuff, and then he's gonna end the solo now. So it's me. Of course, my play along, it doesn't work because my play along is set up to keep going. But if I'm playing with a band, the band will take notice in what I'm trying to do. If it's a good band, of course. I am fortunate to have had and still have great musicians playing. They will understand that. So if Peter, on this case, right, as an example, like play, and then like we got, my first instinct would be to just bring everything down. If great musicians, maybe the drums will even stop, just do some cymbal stuff. So instead of this groove, like full samba, maybe the bass is gonna be playing 2 and 4, you know. See, this is a nice setup for me to kind of restart everything, right? Because if we're getting out of intense stuff, we just calm down. See, that's already a nice setup. So I would then play something like, let's say I got a auto, like a self-suggestion here. If the first solo is, let's say it's a saxophone player, he's playing a lot of melody, you know, right? Justin Vasquez, this guy play with also like Monster, which I also had to solo after. See, like I'm on the spot, man. I have monsters playing besides me, and I have to like solo after them, right? Either it's like Peter Stolzman, piano player, and he's like Justin Vasquez, monster saxophonist, like woo, like. I have to come up with stuff to play after them. My way of doing it is like, okay, let's think of the music. It's not about what can I play after them. What is the music needing right now? What's the feeling, the general feeling that we should, as a collective band, imprint now? Since we already went there, what is the music asking? Okay, let's now just cool down a little bit and kind of rebuild something. So let's say that everything works and I kind of suggest this vibe, right? This kind of thing. What I would probably do, let's say, maybe how about I do some chordal stuff, like some chord melody things or some harmonic layer, you know? So I could do... You see, I already changed the vibe. The thing was intense, notes, melody. I brought it back, and based on 2 and 4. Drums just light, you know, or just cymbal-y, kind of just like resetting the whole thing. Then I then approach things like as a harmonic thing, you know. See, I'm like starting messing with chords. And then with that, I will then kind of restart building and just retelling the story, right? So then from there... we're back, right? See, it's like so much. The drums start playing samba, bass start doing samba, and see, we end again. And then either I can kind of stay there, or I can take things high again, you know, and do that path that whoever soloist did. That's a way, right? That's how I would approach it. So it's about reading the situation and listening to what's going on. And figuring out what does the music needs, not what I'm gonna play because this guy's kicked ass. Like, you have your chance to play some stuff, but like right now, this is a great moment. We got like, what does is my turn to solo. What does the music needs? Well, the music now needs me to kind of cool down a little bit. So I'm gonna get that suggested. Musicians naturally will kind of go into that vibe, but you can help to, okay, let's go here now, and then you can start building stuff. I would probably use some chords and stuff to kind of build that, right? And another thing you can read and be aware is in what kind of control environment are you at. Is this like a set thing that I have to solo after that thing? Because if I have to solo, then I'll do that. But sometimes I wouldn't even solo, right? If there was enough interest and enough momentum and enough things said, and for enough time to develop that we kind of got a nice vibe, I would probably just do a bass solo now, or let's do this and just get to the head, or trade fours to the drums or something like that. If there's a choice, sometimes I wouldn't even play. But if I'm playing, those are things I would think about. What does the music needs me to do, right? The music is asking for cool down, let's cool down and then rebuild. If the solo is sometimes ends in this way, then it's like it just sets you up to, right? Sometimes depending on how you set up the songs, like you kind of give the solo, you kind of release the solo into this kind of half-baked kind of vibe. Let's say sometimes, I'll give another example, a great example. Like, let's say that we set up the solo differently, and now the first soloist is gonna be soloing through the song, right? The solo form. So the solo is gonna be playing and developing that. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, great. And the second soloist will take up from that coda. So let's say that my arrangement is set up in this way, that the first soloist play through the song form, and then he delivers to me in that moment, which will be highly appreciated because I love solo in that part, right? But you see that he did all that, and then we transition into that. So here in this example, it's a different approach because I can't do this whole setup I just told you because the song is here, right? So he delivers to me here. So from now here, I can just like go up, right? So that's a possibility too. He sets me up here and then kind of comes back and delivers to me kind of half baked, and then we go up. And then then I got this kind of mid here, kind of mid intensity to start my solo, and from here it's to the moon, right? But you see, that's another example where I got delivered the opportunity to solo on a like not a high note or like a super kind of, it's just half baked, right? The solo did all that and then just didn't go all the way down. He just kind of brought it up to the middle and just gave it to me here, which will be the code. I'll show this and then I'll solo from that, right? So let's see now, let's imagine that I am two people, right? I am the first soloist who is gonna solo through this song, and this will wrap up our meeting today. I'll play the song throughout as 2 times, so I'll do a chorus of 2 times, 2 choruses, and then the first solo is gonna deliver the solo to the second soloist in that ending, that coda, and the next solo is gonna solo there. So I'm gonna try to play the role of the second guy as well, right? So you can take an idea, because now the solo is gonna end midway dynamically, and then I can get from here and build from that. Okay, so 2 choruses and then another solo. So whenever we go to that coda, think that it's someone else who's soloing, not me again, right? So it'll be me, but a different me. Okay, there you go. this case, it's a shorter second solo, right? But I think you got the idea. It's hard to make that happening when I'm trying to play two roles being the same person, right? But you got the idea. This is a setup where the first solo is played through the song, and then it delivered to me kind of midway through. So you saw that I haven't started playing right away. I just left the phrase to sit, you know. Then I start playing. So that's the second guy, right? And the second guy had a smaller amount, you know. To make this kind of perfect, I would need to extend a little bit of that coda, so I have more time to develop my thing. So I try to kind of cram everything into that part, right? But you got the idea. So it depends on the context, right? To what to play after someone. It pertains to everything I just talked about, right? Depends on the band, the song, the guy, whatever was played, whatever the song needs to play. But all those things are in the equation, right? So when you decide to play, but utmostly, just play what you feel, right? If you're an attentive listener and you're listening to what's going on with the band, you know what to play, right? You will know what to do. Just trust your feelings, right? The Jedi thing, trust your feelings, right? Just feel it out and you know what to play, right? If someone just kind of kill it, wah, and then there's a chance, feel what needed to be played. Do you really feel that needs to be at that level? You start at that level? Probably not, right? Probably you just kind of read the situation, just feel what the band is asking to do. Sometimes the band will tell you what to do. Sometimes the band will set up everything for you. You know, we're gonna do, and then they're gonna do this thing I was talking about. The band already will set up the way for you to play. If they don't, they probably should be listening more to what's going on, but they mostly will do if they're good musicians. That way you can already have an idea of what to play. But most just kind of trust your feelings. You know what to play. And most important is to feel what needs to be played, what needs to be played. I guess that's the most important thing. Your feelings connected to the context. So you feel like, as a fan of music, what I would want to hear after that. I guess that's the question, right? Pat Metheny has a thing when he talks about that, which is a genius statement. He says, like, I'm just a fan of music. So when I'm soloing, there's a fan of music inside me, and he's the guy who's dictating what I'm playing. So if after someone plays something, me, the fan, you know, I ask the fan, hey, if you're a fan of music, what you would like to play and what you would like to hear? And then the fan's like, well, I would like to hear that. And then he plays that, right? So it's this constant inner search into yourself. It's like, well, what me as a fan would like to hear? And then you play that, right? So that's, I guess that's a great analogy that he came up with. So the same thing applies here. So you as a fan of music, sit in the bandstands, like, it's like, oh man, we got this setup, and like, what should I play now? Well, you already know what to play, because that's something you would like to hear, right? If you don't put your ego into it, like, hey, I'm gonna play some badass stuff. Like, no, like, what does the music need now? Then you play that, right? So that's kind of a really long answer, but I think I tried to answer your question. I think I did in some degree, right? So just like to say hi to you guys now. For now, I'll be back next week on Thursday, probably, right? And if you haven't joined that particular Instagram, I would love you guys to follow me there, because that's what I'm going to be putting tips and stuff about guitar and all that stuff. I'll leave the other one more to the kind of the music records and stuff like that, you know, the sort of quote-unquote artist kind of thing. When I'm talking about the record, I have a new record that's is up now, and I don't know if you know, but I got a giveaway, um sorteio, like, going on. There you get vinyl and all this stuff, and that's my regular Instagram one. But I got the songbook from the record, and man, she looks gorgeous. It just looks beautiful. It's very nice. It's like super pro looking. All the songs of the record are here. It's being sold at Amazon. You can find it at Amazon, but you can buy the digital one from me. But I have a sorteio, like a giveaway going on. If you go to my regular Instagram at Gabriel Santiago, there's a post there when I'm talking about this giveaway. So I'm giving away the vinyl. This is behind me over there. The vinyl. I'm giving away the CD, and I'm giving away the songbook because I'd always on PDF. But Amazon, they sell the physical copy, and I got a couple here that I'm gonna give away. So that and T-shirts as well. The T-shirt from the album. So you get all this for free. I will ship anywhere in the world. In Brazil, mando pra lá. You just have to go to the post where I made that, which is Gabriel Santiago, at Gabriel Santiago, like Instagram. And there's some rules there. You have to tag friends and, you know, follow me and stuff like that. Then this day, next week, not this day, this past day, next Thursday, which will be March 4th, I'm gonna do a live, like this regular live. We're gonna be talking about guitar and stuff. I'm gonna announce the winners here, and it'll be 2 of those. So I'm gonna be sending 2 of these packages all over. Whoever, you know, if you're in Japan, I'll ship to Japan. If you're in Brazil, I'll ship to Brazil, right? Not Japan again. But you got the idea. So there will be CD, vinyl, songbook, T-shirt, 2 of those. So I'll be announcing the winners here. And next week, March 4th, we're gonna meet here probably at noon Central Time again. I will let you guys know, and then we're gonna talk about more stuff. But I'll announce the winners of that. But I appreciate if you also follow me on that other Instagram, Gabriel Santiago Academy, because that's where I'm gonna be posting stuff like that, like Brazilian guitar stuff, all this stuff. I got some, and he's like, yeah, obrigado, Eddie. Which was Jedi said, not faking us, so like, yes, of course, man. Obrigado, cara. Perdula. Marty again, got my Agile Renaissance now, Gabriel. Maybe I'll post it on the... Yes, good, man. Good. Post on Discord as well. All right, guys. So it's been fun. To be here. It's like, oh, almost 2 hours now. Time flies, huh? So I'm gonna definitely now. This is gonna be a set time that I'm gonna be here live, so we can interact, can answer questions, can pose more questions, can just, you know, hang out and talk about Brazilian guitar and stuff like improvisation, harmony, and all that stuff, right? So if you can follow me on those links, I told you the new links, the academy, and all that. And next Thursday, I'm gonna be announcing the winners of the bundle. They call it collector's edition, right? Which have everything. And if you haven't listened to the new album yet, you could just follow me on my page to see links, so you can grab like your Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. All right, so I'll say bye for now. I gotta get lunch. I'm getting hungry, but it's almost 2 p.m. here, 2 in the afternoon. So thank you so much for sticking around with me, and I'll see you guys again next week.